Whew, Halitha Chimchukma, no CO Dagwatani, or Sidanelli. You know, it's been a minute now since I served in the military. Not long, but long enough. It's good to have good brothers of mine who got out and went back in, around my same age, kind of grew up together, and they're retiring, officers and enlisted. And I never met anyone, or any people better than the people I served with. Um, the beautiful thing about those I served with, even though we had moments of clowning, me being a martial artist and a boxer, like a lot of you knew growing up, I used to always want to experiment with everything I learned in the dojo or the gymnasium or in the ring. And then all the fighting and the prodding dead bodies and banding up whole apartment buildings and seeing shootouts and seeing a head stuck up on a pole in North, or, all the craziness we went through. I seriously had the best times of my life as growing up during holidays. I'm not a religious person. I don't buy into that religious dichotomy at all. I know the truth of the stories, and most people don't even have the patience of time to want to listen to, the Pale and the Dark Wolf or anything. Come Along Tell, the Singing Grass, Whispering Leaves, and, the Dancing Moon and Sun. I mean, they don't want to hear ancestral teachings. They want to hear some new things, I remember somebody was like, all that stuff you've been writing all them decades, are you going to make a book? I said, I'm not attempting to be rich. My richness is in getting back in touch with my ancestral teachings and natural order. Who needs a new order when the original one was never broken but the people? Dynastically, we want to accept everything we've been handed. But I will tell you that the dynasties of information we were given are complete fallacies and lies. I've traveled all over this small part of terra firma. There's a greater expanse out there. Trust me, I've seen books that blew my mind. And these books weren't written on, hapsen or just by coincidence. It's because they weren't meant to be seen. They say we're on 7 continents or something like that. I tell you, there's more than 37. More. There's rings of ice. Admiral Byrd even slipped and spoke of this in Popular Mechanics. For those who Popular Science, whatever that book was back in 1950, whatever the freak it was. They did paperclip and all that stuff. If you want to believe everything that's been dished out to you and our ancestors knew more, even if you want to say the African diaspora, but the problem with that is Africa really wasn't established as far as that namesake, that New World ideology, the narrative created by Dutch Zionists, 1837, between 1837 and 1839. And what's problematic for me are people running around calling themselves black. And I remember listening to people much older than me saying, if you would have called somebody black back in the 50s, good chance you end up dead. African, there was no such thing until after Roots, and then that Messy Jesse, who actually has a Cherokee, I don't even want to get into that. We live with so many betrayers of the truth, and it affects our youth like it affected us, and it will continue unless we stop it. Nope, I remember nobody's going to do it but us, but I remember having this conversation with this professor, and when I started hitting him in the head about the original rebel flag, what rebellion meant, not the new terminology created by Follywood, I started speaking these things, and he sat there, and his composure was so, let's just say he was lost. And he was like, where you get all this information from? I says, why, do you have a keynote in there? You have some bullet points you want to add in? He says, no, this rivals whatever I've learned. And it was a brother and a couple of pale skins sitting around, pale skin brothers, one lady. The lady was very dismissive, and she was Jewish. And when I started hitting her in the head about certain words in this dialect, this is college, y'all, and I started discussing the truth. Because I says, it's funny how we always talk about lynching, but lynching didn't really happen until after we lost the Civil War, which we didn't. We were betrayed by General Lee and, well, 2 generals and what you call a sergeant, to lay down arms when we were winning a fight. And then they rewrote the narrative as if we lost and made everybody down south pale skin and we were all slaves, which was a lie. And people are still holding on to that because they can't let go of that lie. And the lynchings weren't just us, the indigenous, the aboriginals, to kill the Indians. You got to look at the timeline, the frame of when they decide we must exterminate them. You know, Theodore Teddy Roosevelt, before he got in office, chasing our people down, Seminoles and Yamasee. And we were still whooping their asses. They weren't, even though they had, he refused to be without his Indian scouts and his Negro warriors. They were Indians. They were indigenous, not Moors and all that foolishness. We know 1830 they came up on the conquistadors, and besides 1300 when the Vatican sent their first shock troops, Mongolians, who were given the title native. What's the Webster's Dictionary's title? I belong to the actual indigenous people, a couple of colored people, but now belong to the descendants of Europeans. We don't have to cross swords or, you know, your little piece of wood against my iron. I'm gonna chop it. It's not sharpening. So we don't have to cross swords. People don't like to hear this. 1830, when the conquistadors, the last to come upon this, and they want to keep using these words about, oh yeah, you saw the little thing they had where these Spaniards and Chinos were talking about they fought the Aztecs, or they fought the Mayans and the Incas. Wait a minute. Those were the enemies coming to our shores. All them children you see down there got a little bit of us in them, but the majority of them are Chinos, Spaniards, and Arab Spaniards. Oh yeah, I've been all down Peru, Bolivia, Medellin. Oh man, I heard many people speaking Spanish with Arab dialects in it because I knew the Arab dialects because I've been all overseas. So it's problematic when I hear people talking and they don't even know what they're talking about. Well, James, yeah, you look like you're an Indian. What does an Indian look like? I don't even like that label. Look at these labels. The English language, English. It's our fucking language. When I was in England, I heard all these different languages, you know, Gaelic and this, that, and that. I said, okay, well, is this language, I'm speaking of the original language? Says, no, that's y'all shit. This is what they were telling me, Masons. They just speak it with an accent because they used to come here and they had to learn how to speak like us. Yeah, I don't think y'all get it. We've been duped, processed, reprocessed, and reprocessed, reinvented to make them comfortable. I always say white privilege is fake because, first of all, you're not white, my pale-skinned brothers and sisters. You're bleak. You're actual black folks. There's 3 different terminologies, whether it be Moorish or the Webster's, Wikipedia, and y'all just refuse. You like to be ignorant because you've been conditioned and broke down to be so it'd be division. Because they knew many of y'all would gravitate more towards us because during the lynching period, the 100 years of lynching, that's some Pan-African bullshit. There was Spaniards, French, and Dutch being lynched right alongside of us, and if anything, a lot more of them. But then you had the travesties of our great cities and towns being flooded over and buried. Hell, Indian Wall Street became Negro Wall Street, now Black Wall Street, and that's by the hands of some of our bootleg traders. Negra. What is a negra? What is a Negro de Terra and Indigo? Why is it that people have a hard time accepting the reality of these truths? Because everybody wants to be above everybody else. Excuse me, 85% of y'all are followers, and you will always be followers. Sadly. 10% think they run everything. They want to call themselves elites. Look up the word elite and where it comes from. Man. Don't give me that Latin and Greek bullshit. Do some real work. Honorable work for self. Self-truth preservation. And 5% of us watch. Oh yeah, we talk a little bit. We've always known something. Regardless of that, we watch. We listen. Let me see. Not every one of us talk. And that 5% is a grand number. A grand number. Oh, some of us see a little bit, but there are those who see a lot more. I just thought I'd share that with you. I'm 55. My wife, I was talking to my ex, right? She was like, I had my shirt off cooking, making a grilled fake pastrami and fake cheese, Gouda cheese, watercress, horseradish, organic brown mustard, bagel, everything, 21 grain bagel, and olive oil, and watermelon. And she was like, did you get, where'd you get that six-pack from? I was like, I always had a six-pack. She was like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, you was big. You was like 260. I was like, yeah. Right now, I'm 199, 200. Get down to 185, I'll be grateful. She's like, you know, and much respect. Oh, I love every woman I've been with and dealt with. Have my children, or I've been their Christian marriage, you know. But we're in a world of higher disrespect. And you know, I grew up when we respected Korean and World War II and Vietnam vets, you know, and the Civil War vets that were still alive, the ones that we were able to meet when we were younger. I knew a few, you know, and this generation, from the lie of 2001, that lie, that inside job, I don't give a fuck. I work with bombs and shit and explosives, and I know thermal cuts when I see them. I don't give a thermite cuts when I see them. I don't give a flying fuck. And I was in New York, and I went down there to volunteer. Ended up handing out Gatorade and shit to the workers. But I know what the fuck I saw. That was thermite cutting straight through metal. That shit, man, makes his own oxygen. And they just, and they gave it to China. But you see who's Biden and Obama was always secret communes with Russia. And man, when do people want to get their head together? Trump stopped that shit. But no, y'all don't understand. Your body has 100% energy, power. Do you know that when you're wearing synthetic clothes and shit like that, it cuts your energy from socks all the way up to your head, cuts your energy in half. So anything that you eat poisons all the PBAs and everything that the FDA and the Food and Drug Administration, you know, the government, when they start taking over the food processing and killing the farms and paying these motherfuckers have been systematically in front of you, but the fluoride must be working and the poison is all, there's more than fluoride that's fucked everybody up. Well, y'all just sit there docile. And then they do red flags with actors and shit. So-and-so stormed the Capitol and blah, 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 and an Air Force woman got shot. Don't believe every damn thing you see. Y'all keep watching this lying-ass media. But you won't allow yourselves a moment to fucking breathe. But hey, I'm not attempting to stop shit. I'm only speaking on things that are relevant to facts. If you have a hard time dealing with them facts because it makes you uncomfortable, then that shows exactly where you're at in your life. Huh? But anyway, y'all have a good day.